this is pretty much my May TBR.
I don't want to jinx it, but I do think that this might be my first 5-star book of the year.
Hello, lovely humans. Welcome back. It's been a minute since I posted, so I've got some things to catch you up on. Let's see. I reread Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, and I loved it just as much as I did the first time. It kept its 4.5 rating, and I'm really excited for the sequel to come out this month. I also read Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I read that for book club, and I actually did film all of my thoughts and my review for that book, but I think it comes across as pretty critical, and I am not like the intended audience for that book, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna edit that and publish it. But I gave that book 3 stars. I wasn't the intended audience. I have never read a Hunger Games book before. There were certain aspects of it that I really did enjoy, but overall the storytelling was not for me. I also just DNF'd a book. I think it's called The Coven Tendency. I DNF'd it at like 50 pages, and that was just a little weird for me. The story was hard for me to grasp, and I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it, so I stopped reading it. But that has a really cool premise, and it's basically like these witches who are like living in this human museum, and it seemed like it was going to get really dark and like really disturbing. So if that sounds interesting and you like weird books, you should definitely pick that up. I do want to show you all of the books that I'm going to be reading for May because I have way too many library books that are due in the next few weeks. But before that, I want to show you all of the books that I bought. Okay, this book is the May book pick for my in-person public book club, and I've seen this everywhere. It's the Book of Azrael. I actually don't know what it's about, but I will say that for a paperback, this is so freaking heavy, and like, you probably cannot tell, but the pages are so thick, and they feel like printer paper. I know this was self-published, but the quality of this book is trash. So I'm hoping the story's better. And then the only book that I got from Half Price Books was The Life of Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell was, I believe, a professor of literature, but he specialized in comparative mythology and religion. And if I had pursued academics, that's something that I think I would have been really interested in. But yeah, you know that question where people are like, if you were hosting a dinner and you can invite anyone dead or alive, who would you invite? I think I would invite Joseph Campbell, as long as he's not like secretly a horrible person. But I guess we'll see. I also went to Books A Million and I got 4 books, okay? Usually I don't allow myself to purchase books that I have not read, but these were on sale. Books A Million has like these huge bargain aisles. Each of these were only $7, so I can't pass that up. And it's like the only time where I truly allow myself to like browse in a bookstore and like purchase what I want. The first book that I got is Sister Song by Lucy Holland. I have read Lucy Holland before. I read A Song of the Huntress and I adored that book. I gave it 5 stars. And I think this is either a prequel or at the very least it's set in the same world. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And then I got the Book of Gothel by Mary McMine. I have heard of this before, but I don't really remember what people were saying about it. I believe that this is a Rapunzel retelling, but from the perspective of Mother Gothel. So that sounds really interesting. Okay, so these other 2 books that I got, I've never seen before. I don't think I've ever heard of them, and honestly, I just know that they're both about witches. So this is A Ruinous Fate by Kaylee Smith, and this other one is The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. Okay, now I'm going to show you all of the library books that I have checked out right now, and I think they're all due in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So this is pretty much my May TBR. This one I actually do know what it's about. It's the second book in a series of standalones, and this is The West Wind by Alexandria Warwick. The first book in this series was The North Wind, and that's a Beauty and the Beast, Hades and Persephone retelling, and I really, really loved it. And this one is inspired by the Greek myth of Hero and Leander, and then also the Scottish ballad of Tamlin. So I'm looking forward to getting to this one. This book I've had on hold for so long. I think there's only one in my library system, but this is The Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. Okay, this is blood magic, a vampire king, treason. This sounds really good. Okay, I think this is about someone who mistakenly makes a bargain with the devil at the crossroads and then becomes possessed. This is The Corruption of Hollis Brown by Kay Ankrum. I don't know where I saw this on BookTube. I think I saw 2 BookTubers talk about this. I think one of them was Carter, but I could totally be mistaken. But this is The House of Blight by Maxime M. Martineau. I think this is the Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling. This is What Wakes the Bell by Elle Tesk. Okay, and this one has such a cute cover. The little winged snake, I don't know what that's called, is so adorable. But this is The Prince Without Sorrow by Maithri, which is Sakara. Okay, and this last book is compared to Howl's Moving Castle, and I think this is the book that I'm gonna pick up next. And this is A Harvest of Hearts by Andrea Eames. Okay, so that is 7 library books that I need to get around to in the next few weeks. Hopefully I can do it. I'm also looking at my bookshelves, and there's some series that I really need to catch up on and read the newest book in the series. So I still need to reread Iron Flame so that I could read Onyx Storm. I need to reread The Swordcatcher so I can read Ragpicker King. And then, I need to reread Feybound so that I could read Cursebound. So yeah, I've got a lot of reading to do this month, lots of worlds to explore and characters to meet. So hopefully it's a good reading month. All right, so I'm about 60% of the way through A Harvest of Hearts, and it's not really giving what I wanted or thought it would be giving. In this world, the magic that protects the kingdom and its people is fueled by hearts, and not only like the essence of someone's hearts, but also like the physical, tangible heart of a person. Hello, Beanie. Sir, if you didn't know, the world does indeed revolve around my cat. So we're just gonna continue filming. In this book, we follow Foss, and she is the daughter of a butcher in this small village way on the outskirts of the kingdom, very far from like the main city. And every now and then, a sorceress comes from the city to their small village and basically harvests a heart. These sorceresses are like drop dead gorgeous. Like they leave people awestruck and like wanting to please and adore them. And so it's very easy for them to just like choose someone from the crowd and like have them come with them in their carriage. And the people of this kingdom really don't seem to mind that these like sorceresses harvest pieces of people's hearts because it's for like the greater good. It's for the protection of the kingdom, and good things happen. You'll have good crops and women won't die in childbirth as long as everyone does their part and like is okay with pieces of their heart being harvested. One day though, a carriage pulls into town, and it's not a sorceress, but a sorcerer. And no one in this village has ever seen a male magic worker. But once he leaves, our main character Foss has this like obsession, and it's not really like a romantic infatuation just yet. It's more of like this like physical illness and she feels like she's being pulled and has to be close to him. So she literally just like drops everything in her life, her job at her father's butcher shop, she leaves her father, and she journeys outside the village, which she's never done before, and she makes her way to the city, finds his house, and just is like, I'm gonna be your maid now. I think my favorite aspect of this book is the house. It does run off of the sorcerer's magic, but it's sentient, independent of Sylvester's mind, so it kind of has its own personality and its own motives. The house will literally change its layout to kind of manipulate Foss into doing what it wants her to do. So if it wants her to find a new room to explore, it will present her with a door that she's never seen. It also provides her with what she needs, so new clothes and all the things she needs in a kitchen to prepare food for Sylvester. And the cat companion in this already lived there, but the house gives him the ability to talk because she needs a companion so she's not lonely. And so that aspect is really cute, but the physical home in this is like made completely of, I picture it to be like this obsidian crystal glass material, but it's also, she says it has the texture of skin. And so like literally everything in this house, like all the surfaces and furniture are made of that. So I wouldn't exactly call it like a cozy atmosphere. The first half of this book felt really repetitive in like the imagery and the scenes that we were getting, and also the plot was like non-existent. But once we hit that like halfway point, the plot really picked up, and we also get more information on like how the hearts are harvested and also the after effects of the people who have had pieces of their hearts taken, because they don't die. They like live this like kind of like half life where they're obsessed with the sorceress or sorcerer who takes a piece of them. One thing that really shocked me about this book is I don't know if there's gonna be a romance. Like, obviously there's like that infatuation and this need to be near Sylvester that Foss has, but it's a spell. Like, I don't actually think there will be a romance in this. And while obviously not every book needs a romance, I love like a romantic subplot or even like a romantasy. So yeah, I don't want to say that I'm not going to enjoy this book if there's not a romance, but I probably would not enjoy the ending of this book if there's not a romance.
So hopefully you can hear me. I'm trying to be a little quiet because there are other people at the lake and I do not want to be a disturber of the peace. Anyways, yesterday I finished Harvest of Hearts and that review is coming. I just haven't had time to sit down and really film it. But I also started The Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. I am 240 pages in, okay, and it's only been a day, which is a really good sign. I haven't been able to put this down. I'm pretty obsessed with it. I don't want to jinx it, but I do think that this might be my first 5-star book of the year, which would be amazing because I haven't had that like 5-star feeling in so long. The main character in this, Shan, she and her situation remind me of Rune from Heartless Hunter. They're both members of high society that also have a secret identity with a political motive, and this is so good. Also, the tension in this is amazing. There's like a proper love triangle in this, and I mean like a proper one where it's like of the 3 people, every single person is attracted to both of the other 2 people, and I'm loving it. Honestly, the way I've been reading this, I think I am going to finish this today. So I might just sit down with you tomorrow and give you my review for this book and then also A Harvest of Hearts.
Okay, so I finished Mistress of Lies, but before we talk about that, I need to finally give you my thoughts on Harvest of Hearts. I thought this was a really solid, cozy fantasy with like a lot of whimsical elements. In the update I gave you guys, I think I mentioned that the first half of this book felt pretty slow and there was a lot of like those repetitive scenes that we were getting, and I think that really contributed to this book feeling like it was too long. There were definitely points where I felt like things were dragging on a bit, but overall, like I think it was good. I really enjoyed the ending. I didn't particularly care for our main character. In the beginning of this book, the main character really has such low self-confidence and self-worth But as she goes on this journey and learns more about the world and herself, she really starts to believe that she is someone who is like worthy of respect and admiration. And so I really liked her arc. My favorite character though was the cat. I think his name was Cornelius. He was the best part, and he definitely added like some whimsy and magic to the story. But all of like the emotional inklings that I had as a reaction to reading this book were surrounding the cat. Would I recommend this book though? I don't think so, because even though I thought it was good, I gave it 3.5 stars. I think there's better. If you're looking for a fantasy book that has those cozy elements in it and feels like Howl's Moving Castle, I highly recommend Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. I gave that 5 stars. I absolutely freaking love that book with like my whole heart. And maybe that's why this book just didn't quite do it for me, because there's a lot of similarities to the story and the feeling of these books. Okay, now we can talk about Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. I need to read the back really quickly because I do not want to accidentally spoil you guys. Okay, so in this book, we are following 2 different perspectives, Shan and Samuel, and they are 2 points of our love triangle. Shan is a member of the high society in this kingdom, which is largely made up of blood workers. So people who have a magical gift and have the schooling to use blood magic. We also get the perspective from Samuel, who was born and raised in the lower class, which is made up of people that are called unblooded, so people who are not blood workers. Regarding the magic system though, I really wish that we had gotten more detail and more explanation of how it works, especially because like the magic workers have to study and go to school to learn more. So I thought there would be like just like a hint of like blood work academia in this book, but there really wasn't. If you like politics in your fantasy, I think you would really like this book. I really enjoyed how the characters' motivations and decisions are really convoluted because of like the political landscape that they're navigating. And I also really enjoyed that even though they're both now in the political world, they're still outsiders. Sam did not grow up in this world, and Shan is of mixed ethnicity, so you really have like the subtle racism that really plays into how she's treated in this high society. So when I updated you guys at the lake, I was still very much into this book, and the first third was amazing. It's everything that I wanted, and I just wish that first third, I wish the whole book would have felt the same way. The big thing for me was the amazing tension that the author was able to create in such a short amount of time without really knowing these characters yet. This isn't a slow burn, so the book really lost that tension that I was obsessed with from the beginning. Another thing that unfortunately ended up not really being my cup of tea is the relationships in the triangle. It's a lot of like the characters being in distress and then being comforted with like a handhold or like cupping their cheek or like a kiss. I just thought that there was too many scenes of like emotional support, and obviously in real life that's like so important, so lovely, but this is like a fantasy book. Like a couple scenes will do, and then like let's move on, let's have issues. Build the tension, you know? So yeah, if you've read either of these books, A Harvest of Hearts or Mistress of Lies, I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts. Whether you loved or hated them, or even if you were like me and thought that they were kind of average, I'd still like to know. Thank you so much for watching. You are a lovely human, and I really hope you have a lovely day.